Let's find out if this new Sospiro is any good. So let's review Sospiro Traviata. Hey, what's good guys? Hunter here and welcome back to the channel where I upload weekly fragrance content, so you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button down below and also be sure to follow me over on my Instagram page. So today in my hands is the brand new fragrance from the house of Sospiro, which needs no introduction because they got so much hype within the last couple of years, of course, from vibrato and basso, which are probably the two most popular, at least for men, and they're both bangers. So I'm so excited to bring this one to you guys, because if you do enjoy those two fragrances, then this is going to be one you're going to want to check out because it kind of follows suit. But first, I do want to shout out Sospiro International for sending this one over for review. Of course, that's not going to change my opinions about it. If I enjoy the fragrance, I enjoy it. If I don't, I don't, guys, and it's as simple as that. Of course, this is part of the red velvet bottle collection. They are going to have 3 in this collection, I believe. The first was, of course, Maraschino, which I recently reviewed. That is a cherry bomb. Of course, now we have this one and another one later on in the year. But guys, I honestly believe, in my opinion, this should have came out in a green bottle rather than red, because like I said earlier, kind of follows suit with vibrato and basso, and we'll talk a little bit later on why that is. Before we do, let's go over some information. Now, Traviata was, of course, launched in 2024. It just recently came out in the last couple of weeks. For the retail price, only size you can get this in, which is 100 ml, is going to run you that $325 price point, which is similar to vibrato and basso. The concentration with this is an eau de parfum, so you are getting a pretty highly concentrated fragrance, which is always good. Of course, above something like an eau de cologne and an eau de toilette. The perfumer behind this one is the man himself, Christian Provenzano, which I believe is the in-house perfumer for Sospiro, because he's created the majority of the ones that I know of, and most of the time, the man never disappoints. Now, with all that information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you're going to get with Traviata now. All right, take a look at the box. If you've seen one box, you pretty much have seen them all besides the color difference with the red on the bottom. Of course, you do have the Sospiro butterfly embossed around the whole top of it. 100 ml bottle, eau de parfum. On the bottom of the box, you will have your barcode and batch code to authenticate your product to see when it was produced. On the sides, you will have your seals. Nothing really on the back besides made in Italy. And then on top, you do have the butterfly, but you lift up and your bottle is housed in there. Very nice presentation when it comes to the box. So let's look at the bottle now. So take a look at the bottle. I always enjoy the aesthetic of these Sospiro bottles. They look very high quality and classy. This one, no difference. Of course, you do have that gold plaque on the front with Traviata in red, the butterfly embossed as well. On the bottom, you will have your sticker with some information as well as a batch code. Nothing on the back. On the front of the cap, you have Sospiro embossed, butterfly on top, and then nothing inside of the cap, nothing on the atomizers, but you do have Sospiro around the atomizer collar. The only complaint with the bottles is the velvet does come off. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I would rather these just be glass bottles, but all in all, it does look beautiful. In the top, you have lavender, citruses, and herbal notes. In the mid, you have floral notes, fruity notes, and spices. And in the base, you have amberwood, patchouli, and cedarwood. And this will be classified as a fruity aromatic. So let's spray this and test out these atomizers. Very nice distribution. Even though it's not pressurized, it does shoot a lot of juice, which is good. So let's go ahead and remind myself of the brand new Traviata. So right away, when you spray this one, you're going to be greeted with the aromatic lavender. However, it's a very different lavender that you're going to get in this. It's a much more soothing, relaxing, calming lavender that kind of just puts you in this detox mode, which I actually really enjoy. Probably one of the most smooth, soothing lavenders I've ever smelled in a fragrance. So it's extremely unique when it comes to that. Kind of gives off those like aromatherapy body washes, etc., that put you in such a good, relaxed mood. But alongside that very unique lavender note, you are going to get a burst of citruses. It's not really like a primary citrus that I'm mostly picking up on. It's just kind of a bunch of them all combined together to give it a nice uplifting opening along with that lavender note. But you do, of course, also have that herbal notes listed, which I say kind of follow suit with like vibrato and basso, because those are both pretty green fragrances, which is why I think this should have been a green bottle. I think it would have been much more fitting, because when I think about the green bottles from Sospiro, I think about more masculine fragrances. But when I think about the red ones, I kind of think more feminine, because the first one was Maraschino, which absolutely leaned more on the feminine side without a doubt. This one though, we will of course talk a little bit later about gender, but I do think this should have been in a green bottle. When we make our way into the mid of Traviata is when it starts to become pretty floral and fruity. But to be honest with you, the floral and fruity notes don't really kind of dominate the entire composition, which is a great thing because you also do get the spices, which is listed. You are going to get a nice kind of spicy pinch in here as well. But the fruity and floral notes do not turn that feminine by any means. It's not like your typical white powdery florals. I may be picking up on possibly like a green earthy rose if it is there. That would probably be the floral I am getting. But with the fruity notes, it's more so just like a basket of fruit, just a fruit basket going on that add a little bit of like this playful kind of fun character to it. Now, finally, when we make our way into the base of this one is when you're going to get this very warm, slightly resinous amberwood, which is of course a very modern note. You're going to get a nice heavy dose of it in here, which is a good thing. I love amberwood. But you also are going to get this very well done green earthy patchouli. One of the better patchoulis that I smelled in recent times, actually, which I'm a patchouli lover. Patchouli is one of my favorite notes of all time, and they nailed it in here. Just all in all, guys, I think this is going to be a hit from Sospiro with that very detoxifying, kind of calming lavender note with some green herbal touches and a little bit of a citrus kind of opening as well. That dries down to this floral fruity kind of combination with the spices. And then you're left with that modern amberwood and earthy patchouli, which makes for a perfect DNA. And like I said, if you are a fan of vibrato and basso, definitely check this one out if you want to add another Sospiro fragrance to the collection, because I know those are the two most popular. This is nowhere near identical to any of those, but I could just see somebody enjoying those two, also enjoying this one like myself. So for the best seasons to wear Traviata, if you do get a bottle, for me primarily, I'm wearing this one in 3 seasons, which is the fall, winter, and springtime, because it does have that nice kind of potency to it, the denseness to it as well, that could be pulled off in the fall and winter, and also very much so in the springtime because of the florals and the greenness and the earthiness about it as well. Not so much the summer. I know the citruses are listed in the opening, but the citruses do not overtake the fragrance. It's not a very kind of bright, fresh kind of citrus at all. To me, it's primarily a aromatic kind of green, herbal, spicy fragrance, which of course works the best in usually the colder seasons. But at the end of the day, if you wanted to wear this all 4 seasons, you absolutely could without any hesitation. I'm just telling you what the best seasons for me would be. Now for occasion, I think it's very versatile when it comes to that, because this is the sort of fragrance that you can easily dress down in like a hoodie, a t-shirt, shorts, jeans, but you can also easily dress it up to a more formal attire if you're wearing a nice buttoned up, a dress shirt, even a suit, or even a tuxedo, which is always a great thing to have a fragrance that just adapts to whatever kind of situation you're going to be in, whatever you're wearing easily. And this is it right here, because it does come across smelling very luxurious and expensive, which is what you're going to want to portray, especially if you're dressing up in nicer clothes. But can also, like I said, be dressed down because it does have this kind of like fun, playful character about it. Heck, I'll even pull this one out while I'm wearing pajamas just because of how soothing and calming that lavender is. I would love to smell that while I'm even at home. So for gender, which I did kind of touch on a little bit earlier in the review, I would categorize Traviata as unisex, leaning on the masculine side at the end of the day. I know Maraschino, I think I said unisex leaning feminine. This one though is unisex leaning masculine within the red bottle collection, which is a fantastic for me, myself, and of course all the guys watching this one as well, because it's nice to have some more masculine leaning fragrances from Sospiro, and this is definitely one of them. But that doesn't mean it's ultra masculine. It's by no means a very masculine fragrance. Like I said, it's still unisex. I can 1000% see a woman pulling this one off as well because of the fruity and floral notes going on, and even that lavender being very calming and soothing. A woman can rock this one easily, just like the boys. So unisex leaning masculine at the end of the day, in my opinion. Now for age groups, which is also extremely versatile. It can be worn by somebody youthful, even like a late teens if you got a ton of money, or your family got a ton of money, or your parents. You can definitely rock this one because it's a little bit fun and playful, like I said earlier, but it's also very much can be worn by a more mature audience also because of the lavender, the spiciness, the herbal notes, that patchouli and the amberwood. It could be worn by somebody a little bit older. So I would just say right down the middle, versatile, youthful, and mature at the end of the day with Traviata. Wrapping the review off, talking on the performance you should expect when you get a bottle of Traviata. From my experience, guys, I got about average performance when it comes to the longevity, which means about that 8-hour mark, which is extremely respectable in my opinion, because this is going to be a fragrance that you don't really have to reapply throughout the day. It's easily going to last you through like a whole work shift if you work an 8-hour shift, which is much more than necessary for most people. It's not the kind of fragrance that's only going to last, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. It will push for a good amount of time. I kind of noticed that with Sospiro. I don't think any of them that I've tried at least are below average by any means. This is definitely not one of them either. Very strong, potent fragrance. And also it kind of goes along with the projection as well. You're going to get that average moderate projection, which means it's not necessarily going to be a room filler. If you walk into a room, don't expect everybody to smell you, but it's also not going to sit extremely like intimate and close to the skin either. So people are going to definitely smell you, especially within like an arm's length and a half at least. If you're just moving around, walking around and stuff like that with the sillage behind you with the air, people will absolutely detect this stuff. And if you spray this one early on and somebody smells it, they will definitely ask you what the heck you're wearing because of that lavender unique opening with this. Heck, they might want to stay by you because of how relaxing and calming you come across. The kind of opening that will just make everybody around you be at peace. That is seriously how good the lavender is done in here. Anyways, that's going to wrap up my review of the brand new Sospiro Traviata. Let me know down below if you have any experience with this brand new launch, and also what is your favorite fragrance from the house of Sospiro. I'm very curious about that. And if you have any other recommendations from this house, let me know and I'll definitely try to get to it for a review. But besides that, guys, leave a like, subscribe below if you guys haven't already, and of course I'll see all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.